What's up, guys? Hegster TCG, the channel brings you guys competitive Pokemon content. Here today with another deck profile on what I would believe to be the best deck for Players Cup 3. You heard me right, the best pick for Players Cup 3. So any of you guys watching, struggling to find a deck to play, this would be the deck that I would be playing if I were in Players Cup 3. But instead, I'm going to be commentating the event. I may have another video about that soon. But this would be what I would be playing for the next weekend here. It is Crescephalon or Tempozard or BLOWNS or whatever you want to call it. This deck featuring around 3 main cards, Cramorant V here, the Blacephalon card, and Reshiram and Charizard. It's a super cool deck that I want to take a look at, analyze. We're going to go through all the cards, and we're going to go through its matchups really quickly and how you guys can succeed with this deck. If you guys want to see more content like this, make sure you guys are subscribed, hit the bell so you never miss when another video comes up. Comment down below if you want to see any more standard or expanded decks, and give me a like on the video as well. That would mean a lot to me additionally. So let's just go through this list. Obviously the main card in this deck is Blacephalon, Fireball Circus. Does 50 for every fire energy you discard from your hand, so this allows you as a one prizer to deal a whole bunch of damage with this card, and it is super solid. Blazer, also a 1 energy attack. You're never really going to be using that though. Fireball Circus is the main attack here that we're using. An attacker that we actually use, I'd say, a little bit more than Blacephalon is actually Cramorant here. It's got 2 great attacks. Spit Shot here being excellent, doing 160 damage anywhere, discarding all energy attached to it. And then Beat Catch lets you search out any 2 cards from your deck to find your combo pieces like Welder, like Giant Hearth, like Fire Crystal to get your energy back. It is a great way to set up in the early turns, even if you cannot put on Aggression. The third attacker we have in our deck here, Reshiram and Charizard, is great. Flare Strike is an awesome attack, as well as Double Blaze to put on a lot of damage, and Outrage 2. This has just been a solid, phenomenal card in the format for a while, and it pairs perfectly with this fire-based archetype. And those are the 3 main attackers in this deck. There's a lot of support. We are a Jirachi engine, so we are playing 3 copies of Jirachi, Stellar Wish being a great supporter to our support Pokemon to find your Welders, your item cards, and all the trainers in your deck. Obviously, going to be very important in this high combo-based deck with Welder. Besides that, 1 Zigzagoon, we are playing Nets for Arachi, and Zigzagoon is great at setting up numbers like 240 damage with the Reshiram and Charizard onto a Pikarom. We can also set up stuff like 180 with Scoop Up Nets onto stuff like Crobat that we can kill with Spit Shot on Cramorant to take 2 prizes. And besides that, 2 copies of the Dene for the Dead Change to draw cards, and 1 copy of Crobat V with Dark Asset to draw some cards and get set up to find those pieces you need in your hand. Some other tech Pokemon we play, 1 copy of Marshadow. Chaotic Swell can be very annoying for this deck, so having Marshadow's resetting whole ability allows you to get rid of Chaotic Swell, play down Hearth. You could also, in circumstances, it's a little bit cute, you can do double Giant Hearth. If your Hearth was in play last turn, you can utilize Hearth, use Marshadow, and then play Hearth down again and get 4 energy out of your deck, which can be really good to get that high damage you need via having a lot of energy in your hand with Blacephalon. Besides that, we play 1 copy of Mew, Bench Barrier, to prevent our things on the bench from getting sniped. This just helps even more with things like Pikarom, things like even the Mirror Match. Mew is a great card to have in this deck. 1 copy of Mewtwo. This is the main way we can get back our Welders consistently. We want to utilize Welder as many turns as possible, and Mewtwo can put it on the top of our deck so that we have it for next turn to top deck, or we can even draw into it via Jirachi, or we can draw into it with Oricorio here, being a great card with Dance and Tribute to draw 3 cards if one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn. So this is awesome to be able to just draw more cards. You can guarantee yourself Welder with Mewtwo. You can draw into more things like your Fire Crystals. It's just a great card to have in this deck as we need to draw as much as we can to really put together our combo pieces every turn. And last but not least, the deck plays 1 copy of Fion. Fion has Whirlpool Suction. It's great to get around things that we need to get around sometimes. We can pretty much force our opponent to switch something else in the active, maybe put up a weaker thing that we can take a knockout on with Blacephalon or Reshizard. It's not as important for Cramorant because it can deal damage anywhere, so more important for these 2 Pokemon here. On to our trainer cards, items to start things out. 4 copies of Fire Crystal. We obviously want to have access to fire energy as much as possible. Fire Crystal is a great inclusion in this deck to constantly be able to get your fire energy out of this card pile and put it into your hand. And then we also play 1 copy of Energy Retrieval. It's just a worse fire crystal, but we can only play 4 fire crystals, so we play an Energy Retrieval on top of that. 1 copy of Great Catcher. We can't Welder and Boss in the same turn, but we can Welder and Great Catcher in the same turn, allowing us to gust things up and take knockouts on it. It is a great card to have in this deck. And then onto Pokemon Search, we play 3 copies of Pokemon Communications. Some lists are playing Cherish Ball. However, PCOM is a little bit more consistent. It can allow you to find your Cramorants and your Crobats, as well as your 1 prize Pokemon and your support Pokemon like Mew, Mewtwo, and Marshadow. So that's why Pokemon Communications is what I'm favoring in this list a little bit, as well as 4 copies of Quick Ball to search out those basics. Obviously, we are playing all basics in our deck, so it's no wonder that we're playing 4 copies of Quick Ball. And then we play 4 Scoop of Net to get things out of the active like Jirachi, and also utilize Mewtwo and Zigzagoon over again. And then 4 copies of Switch to get Jirachi out of the active, and just Switch is a staple in all standard decks right now. 4 copies of Giant Hearth. We want to find our fire energies as much as possible. So Giant Hearth is going to be there to get us our fire energy, discard a card from your hand, get 2 fire out of the deck. Pretty standard stuff in a Welder-based deck. Speaking of Welder, we play 4 copies. It seems like a no-brainer at this point. Welder being very powerful in this deck as a fire deck. You just get all your fire energy into play really quickly, and Welder allows you to accelerate that there. And then 1 copy of Boss's Orders. We want to have some form of gust sometimes. If our opponent can't put on aggression, we can utilize stuff like Boss's Orders to take knockouts on Pokemon we want to win the game a lot faster. And then 12 fire energy to wrap things out for the deck itself. I'm going to do something a little bit extra here for this video. We're going to go into the matchups of the main decks for you guys if you want to learn how to play some of this stuff. I'm going to go through quickly what the hardest matchups are for this deck and what you need to know based on the popular decks. Centiskorch can be tough. You really want to utilize Cramorant to put aggression on wherever their energy goes, so you can utilize the prize trade. Blacephalon can come in late game and take knockouts with Fireball Circus. You can set up a 2-shot with Cramorant. It deals 160 twice, so that's 320, knocks out a Centiskorch. A lot of these matchups are going to be chasing the energy. Next up is Pikarom. This is probably one of your toughest matchups to deal with, but you really want to utilize Marshadow out of that Marnie swell that can hurt this deck, and put on aggression with the Reshiram and Charizard. If they don't play the Mewtwo, you can take a 1-shot again with the Zigzagoon Ping and kill a Pikarom, and then you really want to utilize either Double Blaze or using Cramorant to snipe the Denes and take your prizes that way. You can also turn 1 Double Blaze a Boltund, which is a really good strategy in the matchup. If you go first, you usually want to go second in the deck in this matchup because Pikarom wants to go first. This is one of the few decks that doesn't really care whether or not they go first or second. It's just matchup dependent. A lot of times you do want to go second with this deck, as you are a Welder deck and want to Welder your first turn. So that's how that matchup works. And then Eternatus is going to be, again, chasing the energy. So wherever they put energy, you really want to utilize Cramorant to spit shot it as much as possible. You really want to just consistently have your Welders and find your Welders here. And that's pretty much the main matchups. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. Luke Metal is a pretty favorable matchup. And that, I think, wraps out the main big decks that this list plays. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter or leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer with some of the matchups. But again, this would be, in my opinion, the best deck for Players Cup 3. When the deck draws well, I think it beats everything in the format, and the results and recent online tournaments really show that this is a powerhouse to be dealt with. And I look forward to hopefully casting some games with this deck come the future for Players Cup 3. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. We're closing in on 800 subs. We're so close to 1,000 subs. I'm hoping to hit that goal soon. So go ahead and do that if you're not already subscribed. Thanks again for watching. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.